Hey guys, welcome to our review of Kamen Rider Saber Episode 2. As always, I'm your host, the Frozen Stratos. We're keeping it, Alex. We're keeping it. As always, I'm your host, the Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have...
The Cinder Blaze.
I'm Aresol.
Guys, welcome back. Like I said, we are reviewing Episode 2 of Saber. And then also, after we review it, we're going to get into the comments and all that fun stuff. So yeah, man, I still don't know how to feel about Saber. It's got some neat aesthetic going around, and it's definitely like we have the same director as Wizard, so the fights look neat. The physical fights have nice acrobatic action to it, but I don't know that the story's quite there yet. There's still at the point of throwing so much at you at once that like if you stop paying attention for like a second, you've missed out on like a lot.
Yeah, that's part of why I rewatched this episode after we watched it initially, because I felt like I missed stuff.
Yeah. What did we miss? Do you remember anything?
I couldn't tell you.
There it is.
Couldn't tell you.
And like,
because it just when you put that much into one episode, that much just exposition, it's hard to hold on to, even when the exposition isn't necessarily like presented poorly. Because I was a little more okay with it this week than I was last week.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because, like, at least this was characters who know things about what's going on, explaining it to our main character who has no clue. Like, that's fine. But yeah, there was so much of it where I was like, okay, maybe I'll remember that next week.
Yeah, like for me, for the first couple of episodes of Kamen Rider, we're usually like introduced to some sort of like formula, like the enemy of the week comes out in disc form, something triggers, turns in another, or something happens to it, something it gets power through something, and then the Kamen Rider has to do something to stop it. And we kind of like have like a way of like knowing how to get from point A to point B to the end of the episode. But for this one, like they're not giving us like a standard formula for the show. They're just kind of like jumping right in the middle of it. And this feels like an episode 8 or 9 where they mix up the formula, where they kind of like go into like a different world and there's 2 enemies that they have to deal with. Like usually we don't get stuff like that until like way later. I'm just like, dude, I don't even know how like one enemy works. Like, can you like stop, mixing it up? Like, kind of take a little bit more slowly. I know that there's 2 writers, so they had to like get 2 of like the mob villains, but it was just a little bit harder to follow. But like, it was definitely better than like last week's episode where we just did not understand any of the exposition that was kind of being thrown towards you. I mean, like, got some of it, but like I felt like it was way easier to digest. But just like maybe not yet. Maybe like give us one more episode of something more standard, and then we can like ingest it in something like this.
I agree with you at the point that like the exposition was better, because like we have exposition coming from like mainly one person, the new animarium lady, who was basically spelling everything out for him. But and as opposed to last week where it was like the blue dude and then the side character editor, and then the boy band faction.
Yeah,
we're all just like throwing shit at you. But I will say, in terms of like structure, how we go from point A to point B, I feel like I understood the flow of episode 1 a lot more, because threat happens, they deal with the threat, and then that's it. There's no like back and forth between the book. I don't like the book place, not the book store, the book's place with like that big book for some reason.
Their base that's in the North Pole.
Right, yeah, Santa's workshop. So like when we swapped back, because like I had no idea. Like I'm only just putting this together now. It's like, oh, they went into, I guess, the book because a part of the world was taken and they had to like liberate it, like they did episode 1.
Yeah, he mentioned that it was still taken, like it was left over.
Oh, that's left over from last week. That didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or at least that's what the subs said.
Okay, I like that. That's the thing as well. You're still throwing a lot at us, and I cannot. I have a tiny brain. You gotta like spell this out real slow. Give me like 5 episodes. But it made more sense. But when they kept swapping back, and when they swapped back the final time into like CG, I did not feel that connective tissue as much. And I feel like they could have done a lot more to sort of weave it together.
It was very quickly back and forth, because like they, after the first time they go to Santa's workshop, they're just like, it's like a 2-minute scene, and then boom, he's right back in his bookstore pondering everything that he just learned. I'm like, okay, so you only need to be there for 2 minutes? Did you what?
Also he said some sort of magic phrase, and then the store went, "Wow, you've won! Here's a new ride book." And then it pops out, "Hey, here's your bike. Only you can use it," because he said the magic words. That was a little.
That I'm okay with, because in some series, the main character doesn't even say the magic words. The dude in the rug tells him to say the magic words so that he can justify giving the power up that he was already going to give to him for no reason.
Let me massage this orange real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that scene was like somewhat nice. It shows that like he kind of has like a different perspective of what's kind of going on from Blue, at least from like the people who are already kind of like established in that kind of world.
Because he was just about ready to give up. But like, where does that sense of justice come from? Where does that drive come from? Why does he care so much? We don't get any of that yet. And I feel like if we are setting up a character, it would be helpful to know where he's coming from and why he's making the decisions he does. Like, it's fine if we don't get that for side characters, but I feel like for our main character, it's far more important than throwing plot at us.
Yeah, I mean, like, for this character in particular, because, like, when he's kind of, like, put in those moments, he's, like, very defensive and protective. Like, that one kid, like, he was just, like, in your face, I'm gonna freaking save you. And if they're gonna go to, like, that extremity, then I think it would be a little bit, more warranted to provide that backstory for us. Like, sometimes it's not even, like, necessary. Like, do we need to know why Arto, was a goofball, or, like, why he was just, like the way he was? Not really. Just, like, that's just the way he is. Just deal with it.
Even then, like, in the first episode, we knew, like, he was that way because he wanted to be a comedian. Like, okay, makes sense. That's his career.
But, like, you can sort of identify with that struggle. I feel like, for me, it's the driving motivation behind the justice, not necessarily, like, just why they're fighting. I don't know why Red's fighting outside of, like, the standard cookie cutter, I'm a hero script. Yeah. And it would be helpful if we got a why. But I guess part of that is him trying to figure that out as well.
Yeah.
Which I feel like maybe there could be a thing of like, oh wait, I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like, there's some sort of struggle.
That could be it. I mean, we are doing the whole like amnesia thing, so but I will say I actually kind of enjoy Blades. I think he was what?
Definitely. Like,
Yeah, he was fine. I like that he was like, "Hey, give me your book," but it was more of a sense of like, "I'm protecting you. Please give me your book." And then when Saber was like, "Nah, I'm good," it's like, "Okay, guess I better bring you along to my secret clubhouse."
I mean, that was probably a
Okay.
test. Like, if he
He,
just gave it to him like out of nowhere, then he's just like, okay, then this guy definitely shouldn't have it. If he just gives away something like this, might as well have it in my protection.
I guess it's just not often that we get secondary writers that are that helpful right away.
Or that nice. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he made this episode a lot more watchable than what it would have been without him. Like like at the moment, I don't think Saber is that strong of a lead right now. Like I like the side character chick, but like she definitely needs like a cast to kind of like support her. Not that she like is like bad on her own, but just she doesn't do anything by herself. She's heavily dependent on like interacting with other people, and
her character brings this like attitude to the show that I have not felt in a while. Like, she feels more like early Heisei Phase 2.
yo, she reminds me
Like,
of Akiko from
a
Double.
little bit. She reminds me of like the shop owner from O's, like the food place owner.
Yeah, yeah. She kind of
So
like
just
whips
like
the.
a little bit out there in terms of like character, like a really strong character, but like a strong presence.
Yeah, she doesn't really have much agency in the plot, so like she's just kind of like drifting along with Saber and Blade,
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
what they're up to. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys have anything else before we dive into the comments?
Nah.
No. I'm sure the comments will remind me of some stuff.
Okay, cool.
I can't remember everything that happened.
That's fair. Andy L says, "Yeah, last week the host was right. I was too nice to the show. Episode 2 is pretty damn bad. Exposition dump. Change locations. Exposition dump. Change location. The pacing has a big issue. There is one really weird setting I might understood, so they are telling me the part of the city have not recovered and Saber got back to the bookstore, act like it's all done and finished his book. Let's hope next week was talking to Gao Priestess Tet Tomu has more explanation."
Why couldn't they pick like a slightly different look? Oh well.
Rajik Rasul says, "I really like the secondary writer. I mean, look at him. It makes me want to hug him so tight, and he's helping the main writer to learn of being a common writer compared to the usual jerk, vengeful secondary writer at first, then mellow out throughout the story we usually see. I do appreciate that. That is a breath of fresh air. We have now buddies writers between the main and secondary. Excited for next week for Papa Ryder and the third writer who is childhood friend with Toma. Is there someone named Toma?
Toma's the main character, right?
Oh.
Toma's the main character.
I don't know. That's probably a thing that I need to lock down. I don't know who the main character is.
I know Rintaro's the is Blades.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
Toma. His name is
okay,
Toma.
good. He goes on to say, "This is for 01 content. I was sad that there was no helmet crack to see the act." Oh, yeah. Why'd you add 01 stuff to this? We'll talk about that later. We still haven't done our full series review.
Okay.
Yuki Miyazaki. with a brand new profile picture. Says Bonne lecture in this volume 2 of Kamen Rider Saber.
You gotta say it in the accent.
No.
Bonne lecture.
was the giggle part of it? We got what I can said with 2 words, jumbled mess. Look, I don't hate the episode, but it's just jarring that they interact like they've known each other for a long time, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt that it will get better in the future, although I absolutely love Rintaro from his attitude to his demeanor. It's what make me enjoy the episode, TBH. The villain is starting to look really Western, and yes, the tank top guy looks like the discount Nickelback. Overall, pretty alright. I'll give them one more episode for my verdict on the beginning of the series. I wish the ending is the opening and the other way around. Also, Papa Rider, I'm so hyped. Give me more of this toy. Where did Papa Rider come from? Is that like a thing?
The character that's getting introduced next week is a dad. I'm
He
fairly
is,
certain.
but like on 2 occasions, they both said Papa Rider. Like it's a thing that people have been saying. I
don't know.
First I've heard.
Yeah, maybe because he's super borrow or something.
Oh, guys! Thanks so much for watching. If you like this episode, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. Tell us in the comments down below what you thought about our thoughts about your thoughts about this episode. And there are still links in the description down below to how you can help support the Black Lives Matter movement by donating money, signing petitions, whatever you do, as long as you do it. It absolutely helps. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Keep it.
Alright, see ya.
Bye. This is the point in the show where someone rides in on a magic carpet. Or a fucking lion.
Oh man. Yeah. Honestly, if it wasn't for him, this would have been complete garbage.